Hello, everybody. This is Mark Werber, the Director of Association Management Software. I'm joined by your presenters, Diane Clem and Frank Rittersdorf from the AMS Support Department.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Today's timely topic, Central Database Financial Processing and Reporting. And we are coming to you live from our multimedia studios right here in Simi Valley, California. As I always say, it takes a village to pull off these webinars, so I'd like to take a moment to introduce our staff. From left to right, Sabrina Steffen, our marketing coordinator, Mark Boatman, who turns the knobs behind the scenes. That's me in the middle, Mark, followed by your excellent presenters, Diane Clem and Frank Rittersdorf.
Well, if you don't know, now you know. We are in Magic 10 version 10.1.05. If you're not on Magic 10 or at 0.1.05, please upgrade. There's a number of enhancements as well as maybe even some adjustments to the program. Give us a call.
Let's get started with today's webinar. Today's agenda is CDB financial transmittals. We're going to cover the setup options, how to generate a financial transmittal. We're going to view a report and decipher the information contained on the report. Then we're going to show you an online tool where you can check results and fix errors. Then we're going to show you how to rerun the financial transmittal again. Let's jump right into it.
Thank you, Mark. First, we're going to look at the setup. Frank is going to take us to Magic, and we're going to look at the different ways that you set up data exchange so that your financial transmittals will be successful and flawless. So you're going to go from managers to data exchange to send transmittals. And I want to talk first of all about your receiver information and the two ways that you can send your transmittal. So we're going to click on Setup and Receiver Information, and you'll notice to the right-hand side of the form you have an option of sending it CDB or FTP. This is preset. You almost never have to go there, but I do want to talk about the difference. For a state receiver or MLS receiver or key, all of your files will be sent using FTP. And what that means is Magic will create a file. The file will be placed on a predetermined FTP site where it will be picked up at a scheduled time by your receiver. Now, specific to nerds, anything that goes to nerds is going to go via CDB. And what that means is that you have a unique web service set up at NAR that's specific to your association. Any data changes in your membership criteria will be sent from Magic to your web service at NAR using CDB, and those records go one at a time in the transmittal. So that being said, now we're going to look at the setup that you're going to look at more often, which is going to have to do with the charge codes. So we're in setup still, and you'll notice when you select your receiver, there's going to be several tabs you'll see, and click on the Charge tab to begin with. So this is the one you're going to worry about. Any charge codes that are in this form are the charge codes that will be included in your financial transmittal. You'll see the code itself, the description for the code. If it is a contribution, you want to have both personal and corporate noted in this form, so you get both forms of contributions included. And then to the far right, you'll see that you can designate your financial information. You can organize it in any of 6 columns. So in this case, we have national dues set up to go in column 1, and then we have RPAC personal to go in column 3, corporate goes in column 4, and anything that goes to state goes in column 2. So that is what's involved in setup. To review that quickly, we talked about what's appropriate, sending your files CDB, which is specific to NAR only, or FTP for any other receiver. And we also looked at setting up your charge codes. It's important to note that before any financial record will be included in a transmittal, it has to be updated to history. So you need to run your member history update before sending a financial transmittal.
Thank you, Diane.
You're welcome.
Let's go ahead, let's fire up our generator there and so we can generate our financial transmittals. Now that the setup is taken care of, we're going to go ahead. How do we process that? Well, first thing we want to do is find it. So we're going to go to Managers, Data Exchange, Send Transmittals, Processing, and then Financial Transmittals. Let's take a look in Magic. Go to Managers, Data Exchange, Send Transmittals. So instead of veering over to the right, we're going to go over to the left and look at processing. We're going to find our financial transmittal button. First thing we're going to do is zoom in and select our receiver. We're going to grab NERDS fin. Now remember, we're sending this to NERDS, so it's going to be in the CDB type transmittal. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to zoom in for the transmittal batch number. And we're going to hit Control E for all you Magic 10 users. And we're going to go ahead and select our parameters, our criteria, by choosing the dates. Now, a lot of customers will do on a monthly basis, but you can send this after the month has been over, after you've reconciled in your accounting and so forth. So in this case, to demonstrate that, we are going to go from 12/31/12 to 1/17/13. And once you've put in the parameters and you decide to do either just dues, contributions, or both, we're going to go ahead and just escape. You want to click up once, see the new batch, and then you just double click it and it selects it. As you can see, it auto fills all the information from when we created our batch. From here, you just have to generate the transmittal. Now, what Magic is doing right now is scanning all the different records, looking for any transactions that have been updated to history, and grabs them and puts them and grabs it for that transmittal. Now here you have a choice. You can send the transmittal to CDB or create the transmittal reports. Now, do we really want to send the transmittals without looking at them, see what's in there, see if there's any errors in there, and so forth? Well, a lot of our customers say no. They like to just look at the report first to see what's in there, see if they have to fix anything, and if everything looks kosher. Let's go ahead and hit continue. So now we have our transmittal report financial form here. Pretty much everything is auto-filled. You can uncheck some of these boxes, but you can also just create report and you'll take a look here. So let's go ahead and run that. Oh, there's our report. Just like that, almost like magic. Okay, so before we dive in and really decipher this report, let's review and see how we got here. Well, first we talk about how we find the spot where we process the transmittal. We talked about selecting the NERDS receiver that's appropriate. We talked about creating a batch using our date parameters. And then we generated that transmittal. And remember, once it's done, you have a choice. You just can send that right up to NERDS if you want, blindly, or you could do both, or you could just create a report and look at it and see. And that's about what we're going to do now. Di?
All right, so now that we have that excellent explanation of how those reports are generated, let's decipher our reports. The first thing you may notice about your financial report is you're going to see the transmittal batch that you've just created, and you're also going to see the date range you selected. In our case, we selected 1/1/2013 through 1/17. The reports are organized very neatly by bill type, and then within the bill type by member last name. You can see what the member bill type is, you can see what the receipt date was, and then those columns we set up earlier, you can see that the payments are organized as you specified when you were setting up your criteria. State is in the first column, then national, and then you have personal and corporate RPAC. At the end of every bill type section, you'll see a breakdown, and you'll see two totals. You'll see a non-EC total and an EC total. What that means for the non-EC total is that this is money that did not split. It went directly into your bank account, and eventually you're going to have to send that money to state or national. The EC total is money that's already split, it's already gone to state or national bank accounts, and you don't have to send that money along. And then of course you have your grand total at the bottom. The next part of the report is the error transmission report. This is the errors page. These members that are on this report will not be included in this financial transmittal due to an error in their record. So the first thing you'll notice, you have a record type, whether it's contribution or dues. Then you can see that it'll show the amount of the transaction and the member name. Under the member name, you'll see the error message, which is the information you need to correct. In this case, the current member status was not active or pending, and this resulted in the contribution record not qualifying for transmittal. You'll have an opportunity to fix that information since you chose not to send the transmittal, and then you can send it once it's created, or corrected rather. In some cases, the first page of your report is going to look a little bit different. If you have records that have been fixed or that now qualify that didn't qualify before for transmittal, they'll show up at the beginning of the next transmittal you create, and you'll see a date range of 000000 through the first date in your date range. And again, they're going to be organized by bill type, and the payments are going to be organized into the columns that you set up. So any information on this first page with a 00 from date are records that didn't qualify before, but they qualify now, and they're not within your date range. So to review what we covered here, we took a look at the financial report and talked about how to decipher it. We looked at records collected, which are grouped by bill type and sorted by member last name. Now we know the difference between EC and non-EC totals. And we looked at the error messages and descriptions, and also were able to see that last page where the prior activity was. So now that we understand the financial report, Frank is going to show us how to go into Magic and check the results on a log in Magic.
Thank you, Diane. So how do we find, let's back out of here, and how do we find our log? Well, we're in the Processing tab under Send Transmittals. You just go to Check Results. Look for the Financial Detail form. Once again, we're going to be selecting our receiver, which is Nerds Fin for us. And you're going to select the batch that you just processed. In here, you can see all, as you can notice, we have a number of indicator type columns in here, whether it be batch number, office number, or member number, Nerds ID, and so forth. Quick side note, the push to CDB is just FYI only. If it's checked, that means that record was sent to CDB at some point in time. If it's not checked, like we're seeing here, it has not been sent. You cannot check this box to tell Magic to send it. There's another way of doing that. And to bring you to how we're going to do that, we're going to go to the status column. Now, you'll probably notice if you click on here, you can order this, you can order, set the date, sort the data by that particular column. This way, we have all the errors right in a row, and you can just go through and fix them. Speaking of fixing them, well, we can go down to the bottom. You can see more information where you can see the member name of that line item and the contribution amount and the push to CDB, which will probably correspond with this column here on the right. So you'll have your time, date, and your date and time stamp here. And at the bottom, you'll actually have the transaction message, which is actually the error message. This current member status was not active or pending. This resulted in the contribution record not being qualifying for transmittal. Heard that before, right? That's right. It's the same error that was on the report. So this form is really nice and centralized. You can see at the bottom there's a number of buttons you can just click on, get in modify mode, and you can make that change. We could actually activate this member. We could actually activate that member and fix that error. If it was an office error, you could go into the office button and do the same thing. You can even look at the contribution history and see which transactions are qualifying or that are in the history to be sent. You can even sort or filter using this button by show all or just your errors. Once you've fixed your error, what you want to do is get into modify mode on this log, and you can change this to F and tab through. Let's say, first F means fixed and resend, as you can see. But let's say you wanted to say this transaction should not be sent to Nerds. I don't know why it's in here, should not be sent to Nerds. Well, you can actually change that to X for exclude. And that will exclude that transaction and would not be sent to Nerds. As you can see, we have a couple of other statuses. We have the collected not sent. That's when you generate and you're not sending the transaction or the transmittal. You have the error, of course. We have the fixed and resend. And then you'll rarely see any of these. The rejected by receiver. Sent, of course, is when it's been transmitted. And warning, you'll probably rarely see that as well. So again, that's how you kind of use this centralized form to really go in and fix your errors and get those transactions up and ready to be sent in your transmittal. Let's review. So we checked our results by really understanding that error log. There's a number of different statuses, and some of the most common ones are error E for errors, S for sent, C for collected and not sent. We also have the actual transaction message on the bottom of the form, which is really the error message. And then remember that push to CDB is FYI only. Please do not try to keep checking that box. You'll only go crazy. Also, we talked about correcting those errors by using our navigation buttons at the bottom of the form. And of course, once you've done the fix, you can change that status to F for fix and resend, or if you just decided something it should not be sent, X to exclude that from the transmittal completely. Let's talk about, now we want to rerun the financial transmittal because we have not sent that transmittal. Let's take a look how we do that in Magic. So we're going to look at the processing tab, and we can click on the financial transmittal button again. So now we're going to process. Now a lot of customers like to use the same batch. So we're going to zoom in and choose our receiver, and we're going to zoom in and select our batch, our original batch that we used in the beginning of this process. The thing is though, once you generate the transmittal, it locks down those transactions so those transactions cannot be sent over and over and over again. So there's something that we do need to do, is that we need to hit tab, click on it, then hit tab once you have it in the transmittal batch number field, and now you have a purge transmittal. Now what a purge will do is actually unlock those transactions, and so that way you can actually send those, regenerate it, and send those transmittals, because we did not send it in the beginning, because we wanted to look at that report. It's really important to know that you do not want to purge transmittal that has already been sent. If you've sent the transmittal, do not purge. That's simple. Let's go ahead and hit purge. Okay, so we have purged it, and now we want to exit out of a purge menu. And now you're right back in the generate financial transmittal. All we have to do now is generate the transmittal, and once again, it's searching for scanning through all the records and searching for those dues numbers. And we have an option to send it as well as create a report. You can do everything all at once because we fixed those errors, we're ready to send it, and we're good. Let's review. So now we want to rerun the financial transmittal because once we generate it, it locked down those transactions and we really didn't send anything. So to do that, now that I have your attention, again, I really want to emphasize this point. If you have sent a transmittal, whether it's to an MLS, whether it's to Nerds or your state, do not purge that batch. Just don't do it. All right, let's talk about the process when we do rerun a financial transmittal on a batch or a transmittal that we have not sent. So we're going to purge that. So we're going to process the financial transmittal by selecting a receiver. We're going to select the batch, and once it's inputted into the field, we're going to hit tab. That purge option will appear. From there, we're going to cancel all that purge form, and we're going to rerun the transmittal by clicking on the Generate Transmittal button. And from there, you can actually create the report and send it, because now you feel confident of what's in that transmittal. Let's summarize.
Wow, we've covered a lot of ground today. So let's take a look at it. We looked at the setup, and we took a good look at the receiver to see how those files are going to be sent. CDB is specific to NAR and NERDS, and FTP is for any other kind of receiver. We also look at how to enter the charge codes for the current year, and please keep in mind, if you need any help with that at all, give the support team a call. We'll be happy to help you set those up. In some cases, you'll need us to help you set those up. We looked at how to generate a financial transmittal. We had choices whether to send it right away or to view the report first and correct the errors and then send it. We took a good look at the report and deciphered the information in the report. We looked at records collected and we identified errors on the report. Once we identified the errors, we were able to check results, go to the error log, make the corrections, and get those records ready to go. Then Frank talked about how to rerun that financial transmittal. Purge first if not sent, but never, never, never purge if you've already sent those records.
Just don't do it.
Don't do it.
Well, that was a great topic and very informative. Now that we're finished with our presentation, we're going to open it up to any questions from today's audience. Any questions out there? Can you read that to me?
Yeah. If an association uses e-commerce for members to pay their dues, does this apply?
Well, even if you use e-commerce, you may or may not be set up for due split. So e-commerce is really just a way to send the credit card transaction through NAR. The report tells you who has and who has not paid. It also tells whether that money was split through e-commerce or it also includes payments via check or monies not split through e-commerce. So my recommendation is that you do still run the financial transmittal report, and at the bottom of the page in the summary, it will show monies that you owe and money that was already split through e-commerce.
Okay, and we have another question. I'm comparing my financial transmittal report to my cash receipts by charge code. Why doesn't it match?
The financial transmittal report and the cash receipts by charge code will probably never match. The reason being is the cash receipts by charge code looks purely at the accounting module compared to the dues financial report that has a detailed setup. It has statuses, bill types, and unique charge codes that qualify. So the financial report will give you one set of results based upon your rules, and the cash receipts by charge code is more purely associated with accounting. Any other questions?
I have one more question. What if I have records that are from an earlier time frame and I don't want to include them in the same transmittal as the date range I've selected? And the answer to that is you can create a separate transmittal and include the date range of 00 through your first date in your date range. And you can send that transmittal separately. It will only pick up the records that haven't gone yet, and it locks them down in a separate batch. Then you can create your new batch that will only pick up the date range you selected.
Well, great questions. Thanks all for participating.
If you have any other questions, please email us at webinars@rapattoni.com. And now it's time for your Rapattoni Wrap Up.
To view past and future webinars and to register for upcoming webinars, please visit our website at www.rapattoni.com. Click on Support, Magic, Webinars and Training Videos, and you will see a list of an ever-growing list of webinars and training videos that you can watch at your leisure. You'll also see scheduled webinars, so you can go ahead and register and make sure you include yourself in those. Also, you can click on Support, Magic, and Magic Resource Articles to type in a topic and look for related articles to whatever you're working on.
Also, our next Magic webinar will be held on February 27th, 2013. It's a very timely topic. We have membership counts, or Revenge of Nerds. Do your counts match NAR's numbers? This presentation will show you the steps to compare your membership against NAR's counts for your association. Let's be accurate.
Thank you for participating today. We will talk to you again in about a month.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Have a great day.